Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lesson 10. So this week we're going to be talking about creativity and personal expression and the ways in which you can use technology to enhance that. And, there'll be some interesting things that, as you will see, my son has made my nice, normal, neat place where I do my work a bit more messy. This used to be my daughter's room, but now that she's in college, it basically doubles as my den. But my son has been using it as a place for him to play his video games. So hopefully all of you are faring well out there with all of these restrictions, and some of you probably having your kids at home. Hopefully you haven't lost your minds. But on that note, I have been putting some things on Yammer to get your feedback, because my courses in general tend to be, a lot of work. And normally I think that is a really good thing, because it pushes you to really think about the readings, et cetera, et cetera. But given the circumstances, I wanted to reevaluate the amount of work that I was expecting of all of you, particularly towards the end of April. And so in looking at your feedback, it seems that everybody is in agreement in terms of keeping the reading questions activity and keeping the discussion, but dropping the final project. And I'm okay with that. The reading questions activity and the discussion is a really good sort of summary of everything that's happening in the course. And that way you'll be done by April 21st, which will probably be a good thing for many of you at this point. So that's going to be the plan. I've already unpublished the final project. And I will happily provide any help and assistance with regards to the final discussion and the reading questions activity. If your team needs a little bit of extra time with regards to the due date, there is a little bit of flexibility. So do let me know, and I'm happy to work with you. Okay? All right, so hopefully that's a little bit of good news. So let me just introduce real quick the readings for this week. We're going to be doing the Robin paper, which is the power of digital storytelling. And one thing that I wanted you to note is that I used this paper and another paper as a means of creating the rubrics for the final papers, because one of the potential projects that you could have done was digital storytelling, sort of your relationship with technology and ways it's changed or been influenced by aspects of the course, for example. These types of projects are usually very well received by students. And for any of you who are doing any sort of online courses with students, these types of creative projects probably be very, cathartic. Okay. So you could think of having students sort of document their experiences, and maybe focus on some of the unexpected positive things of, staying home, or, some other aspect. The one thing that I will say, however, if you choose to do something like that, is just to keep in mind, along with the theme of the course, that, this being, having to stay home and being at home, it does intensify and enhance inequities. And so, like, for example, not all children are enjoying the time that they're spending with their parents. Some children might have complicated relationships with their parents, and so there may not necessarily be some positive consequences, right? So there's many people I know who are becoming very close with their kids. They're seeing their kids are, changing in positive ways because of the extra time that they have with them. But that's not going to be the case for all children. So just something to keep in mind. And then you're going to look at Keith Sawyer. I really love this particular reading because what he's talking about is sort of the challenge of being a teacher and teaching for creativity and being creative as a teacher itself. and I don't remember if it's this paper or if it's another paper, where Keith says that really good teachers are sort of gifted improvisationalists, right? And so really good teachers are riffing off of what their students are saying and what is happening in the classroom, and they're adapting. And just like, actors would, do really well, sort of an improv situation, if that's what they are specializing in, teachers can also do that too. And so it's a really, really interesting read. I encourage you to think about what implications might be, and if we were trying to come up with ways of training instructors and teachers to be more creative in their ways of teaching, what would that look like? Finally, there is a TED Talk by Sir Ken Robinson, which is Bring the Learning Revolution. He also has a book, which I thought I had here, but it must be at work. And anyways, it follows up with his book. Now, one of the things that I wanted to mention is that there are some people who are adamantly, who just really do not agree with what he has to say. So I just want you to keep that in mind. In fact, one of them is Paul Kirshner, and I will post a link in Yammer. Paul Kirshner's an interesting fellow. He's very direct. He has certain beliefs about what education is and isn't. And there's this blog that he has, which goes with one of his books as well, which is sort of Myths in Education. And I'll share that because his basic argument against Ken, because Ken says that school is basically killing creativity. And to some extent, I agree. But the other point is that in order for people to really be creative and out-of-the-box thinkers, they do have to have some knowledge in order to be able to draw from different places and create new things. So when you read these articles, as when you read anything in my class, I would encourage you to think really critically about it, and not necessarily agree with everything that they say. It's really easy because they're excellent writers and it's very persuasive, but I do want you to think critically and think about, potential downsides to the argument, feasibility of what they're saying, and really think carefully about whether you're agreeing with the major arguments that they make, okay? And if so, then bringing it back to technology, how do you support the types of processes that they are talking about with technology? So, as we currently are in a very technology-rich context, because everybody needs to communicate with technology and do things with technology, let's start thinking about how to enhance creativity and personal expression and find ways to have a little bit of fun as well. And technology can be used for these aspects as well. Okay. All right. Any questions? If you have, please feel free to reach out. If any of you, again, are experiencing any issues or problems and need some support, I am here. I'm happy to set up a time to talk with you. Okay. I hope that all of you are well. Please take care of yourselves and do reach out again if there's anything that you need. Okay. All right. Take good care, everybody. See you next week.